What's up, guys? I'm Mike D'Antonio, founder and CEO of StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a lot of great plays for you guys in tonight's episode. There was a good amount of important news that came out today. Like we have record numbers of new coronavirus cases. We have some news with Softbank and T-Mobile, and then we have some pretty big news with Intel and Apple again. Apple soared today, and we took advantage of this in the Discord group. We'll talk more about that later. And then we're going to be going over the momentum plays for tomorrow, as well as a $6 million option that expires this week. So there's a lot of good things that we're going to be going over in this episode. At the end of the video, we're going to be answering all of your guys' questions. But if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily stock market watch list on your homepage every single day. And if you guys like these videos or gain some value from them, Tom and I would really, really appreciate it if you hit that like button. The YouTube channel has been exploding recently. We gained over 8,000 subscribers in this past month. So it's been an amazing month, and we are very, very grateful for all of you guys. So with that being said, Tom, what happened? What major news happened in the market today?
Yeah, really, the biggest thing was the coronavirus stuff where the WHO announced more than 183,000 new coronavirus cases. But the thing was that the market still ended up going up overall throughout the day. And that's probably because of Apple and the whole entire tech sector still going up. And that's an insane rise on Apple, especially after the news we covered yesterday about how they're going to be making their own chips now instead of buying Intel's chips for the MacBooks.
Absolutely. They had their WWDC today, which was pretty cool. They just showcased some of their new software. I watched it. It was pretty cool. It didn't really affect the stock too much. I think traders were expecting it to affect the stock a little bit. I was, but nothing really happened with it. But Apple did have an amazing day. And what's really cool about it is that we called this out at open today. So, Tom, if you want to pull it up on the Discord real quick, I called out Apple call options right at market open today, and those really, really skyrocketed. So that worked out really good. Tom's going to pull it up in a second here. You could see in the day trading channel right here, I called out the Apple calls at what time? 8:50, Tom?
8:50, yep.
Yep, so about 20 minutes after market open, and I called it out at around $304, and then by the end of the day, they were at $440. So pretty solid trade. I know a lot of people made a lot of money from that, and that's amazing. If you guys want to see these day trades, you can join the Discord in the link in the description down below. I post free day trades every single day at market open. So keep that in mind. And Apple had an amazing day, and they have a ton of momentum. I mean, I could definitely see this being a multi-day runner. What do you think?
Yeah, me too. And especially since they're breaking all-time highs right now as well, breaking out of this little channel that they were in. It's just what you want to see out of a momentum play. And they're even going up in after hours right now still. So they're really creating new highs right now as we're speaking. So right now, tomorrow at open is going to be right where you want to be, because you want to be right there ready to get into this one, because you're going to want to catch that volume to the upside, because so much is going to be coming in because it's at record highs, and they have this big news about these chips, and that's just going to make Apple even a bigger company than they already are, and they're kind of monopolizing their industry, which is kind of good for them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're becoming more self-sufficient and things like that. They have crazy amounts of cash on hand. So I think Apple is doing amazing right now, and I could definitely see why they are at record highs. And Apple and the tech sector in general is playing a huge role into the market run-up. Yes, everyone's saying, the Feds are pumping, which they are. The Feds are pumping a ton right now. But another major thing into this run-up is the tech sector exploding. So keep that in mind. And that's partly why you see the market up so much. It's because the tech sector is really, really skyrocketing, and they have a huge influence on the market overall. And then, Tom, another thing real quick is, you can see Snapchat is at record highs. Even Microsoft, it actually broke record highs today, and that's up in after hours too. So
yeah, that looks very similar to Apple's chart, actually. It looks like they're really following each other pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty heavily correlated or strongly correlated.
Yeah.
So And then how about the coronavirus cases too?
Yeah, we have 183,000 new cases, and I really would have expected the market to go down today, but it did end up popping up, and it looks like they're already up today in futures. You can see futures broke above the 1,000 SMA as well, and it looks like the tech sector is really just bringing this up. And it looks like no matter what bad news about the virus is coming out, it's not going to stop the market from going up. And that could be from the Feds pumping this up, guys. But keep in mind that long term, this could end up bringing the market down. So just be ready maybe for a double top once we get to the top if we do end up going up there. But it's just one of those things you want to be really careful for right now. And I still have my channel, which is still kind of drawn here. So once we break above the channel, then I'll be more bullish on it. But right now, I'm still kind of bearish on it with this news. But with all these tech stocks still going up, I just don't know what to think right now. So that's why I'm kind of being more conservative with my trades.
Right. I mean, every news article you see pretty much is, I don't want to say horrible news, but it's definitely not good news. We're seeing record coronavirus cases. We're seeing, just like bad news in general, and the market shoots up. Like that's the type of market we're in right now, where news isn't really controlling it as much as it did a couple weeks ago and a couple months ago. But that being said, there are still ways to make money. And the reason that the market is up so much is the combination between the tech sector and the Fed pump. So with that being said, we'll look to tech stocks. And like the thing is, like, I am still neutral on the market overall. Even though there's a ton of reasons that the market should be down, it's hard for me to fight against the Fed pump right now. You know what I mean? Like, especially on the SPY. So I wouldn't buy like SPY put options, but I would definitely consider put options on individual companies. So yeah, keep that in mind. And then also with SoftBank and T-Mobile.
Yeah, that was awesome. SoftBank actually announced that they're going to sell up to 198 million shares of T-Mobile, and this could be a great opportunity for us because T-Mobile, it looks like they're around all-time highs as well. I don't know how high they got, further back, but right now they're at highs of $109, and they just had this terrible news where SoftBank's going to sell $21 billion worth of T-Mobile stock, which is an insane amount. And you can see that T-Mobile really bled off at the end of the day today and in after hours, and it looks like they're really low. So I think this could be a really good play for puts for a lot of people who want to play this to the downside, especially off this awesome news. And I don't want to say it's awesome news because it's not good for T-Mobile, but it's awesome because it's going to create a great opportunity for us.
Right, exactly. So yep, awesome stuff. And then with so we already covered the Intel and Apple news, but Apple really, really ran up today. I mean, it's hard to fight against the trend on this. If Apple and Microsoft, like when they run, it's hard for me to like buy puts on Apple right now. Like I'm not even considering puts, but I'm just saying in general, like you look at a stock like Apple, tech stock, has good news, really drove the market up, has a lot of share buybacks. Like they're really, really a powerhouse. So, they're really driving the market up, and it's very interesting to see. And I would say there's a pretty good probability of Apple continuing up for a couple days, kind of like it did from June 5th all the way to June 10th. So yeah, good stuff. And I wanted to cover Spotify too. So Spotify had a huge run up this week, or I should say this past week, but it also had a huge run up back on May 18th, May 19th, May 20th, those days right there. And both of these run-ups were due to like acquisition. Like I don't want to say acquisition, but the first time they ran up, they bought like Joe Rogan's podcast where he's just going to be hosting it on Spotify. That's all that's going to be happening. And it's pretty much the same thing with Kim Kardashian too, with this most recent news. And you could see how with the first run-up back in May, on May 20th, it took a couple days for it to fall. You know what I mean? It had 1, 2, 3, 4, it had 5 green days, right? And then it bled off, right? I'm kind of expecting the same thing with Spotify right now. It might have an update tomorrow, might even have an update Wednesday, but it does have to pull back. It can't just keep shooting up forever. It can't just be having these huge candles and not pull back. So that's something definitely to watch. Is it going to pull back tomorrow? Maybe, but it does have to pull back sometime soon. So keep that in mind. And then now with the momentum plays for tomorrow. And the first one is DraftKings. So DraftKings had a crazy move today. It was pretty big to the downside and just kind of like a lot of downwards momentum right now. So Tom, what levels should we be watching for DraftKings?
Yeah, I'd watch for them to break $38.
$38. So if it breaks below $38, we will be looking at DraftKings in a bearish position, meaning buying puts or like shorting the stock. Next, we have SPCE.
Yeah, this was actually awesome today. They had some great news where they have a deal now with NASA to where they're going to train some of NASA's astronauts for trips to the International Space Station. And you can see they really shot up in pre-market. And this is an awesome play, but watch for them to break $18.75.
All right, so you guys heard Tom. If it breaks above $18.75, we'll be looking at this in a bullish sense, meaning buying calls or buying stock. Next, we have Square, which is SQ. And what are we watching for this one?
Watch for 105.50.
105.50. If it breaks above that, we will be looking at Square in a bullish sense, meaning buying calls or the stock. And then we have CMG.
Watch for them to break 1,071.50.
Yep. So you guys heard Tom. If it breaks above that, we will also be looking at Chipotle in a bullish sense. So these momentum plays have been working out really, really well recently. Spotify was one of them last week, and that I know a lot of people made a lot of money off that, and pretty much we're just looking for a continuation. So like if we look at DraftKings, for example, if it breaks below the level we listed, we're just looking at it in a bearish sense. It's pretty simple. We're just looking for a break below that level. And then now for the $6 million options trade for tomorrow. And this one, this one right here is the Apple 365 strike calls that expire this week, June 26th. There's about $6 million put into this. And the unusual options from yesterday were Apple puts. And what we said is if there was downwards momentum, we'll be looking at the puts. Guess what? There was no downwards momentum, so we didn't play the puts. However, with these calls, also a good setup, but there has to be upwards momentum. So we're looking at the Apple 365 strike calls that expire this week, June 26th. There was about $6 million put into them, and we are only going to be playing this if it breaks above, like if it breaks above a certain level, but if it has upwards momentum in general. That's all we're looking for. So keep that in mind. And now for the comments for the previous episode. So with the first question, we have Helen saying, thanks for sharing your knowledge with us. Wondering if you can share the setting for pre-market scanner in Thinkorswim. How do you normally determine the potential of stocks based on pre-market data? Thanks. So I don't use any specific pre-market scanner. I just use a bunch of custom things I built. However, for a pre-market scanner, you don't have to get complicated. Like honestly, look for the top gainers, look for stocks that are gapping up, and really that'll be it. Just look for some of the top gainers. Apple is a top gainer this morning. All you have to do is find what's moving and then play the technicals off that. If it's breaking out, if it has upward momentum, maybe buy calls. If it has downward momentum, maybe buy puts. It's I don't want to make it sound easy, but it's definitely not as hard as you think, and there's no wrong way to do it. Next question, we have Rob saying, great video. Will you get Tom to chart DBI? It's the DSW shoe stores. I bought in at $9.05, and now I'm stuck with it. What do you guys think about the chart? Could it get much worse or hold? So, Tom, what do you think?
Wow, well, I think it could definitely get much worse for you since they had a low of $2.60. And just based off of this chart, they were doing pretty bad before the coronavirus hit. So this is something I would really watch out for. I definitely would not hold this one. I know they might have some decent news that you're seeing maybe that as of why you're buying this or something. But it's just going to have to be a personal risk here. I personally wouldn't hold this at all. I would sell this. And if you want to get into something more safer, I would get into like a value stock like Coca-Cola or something like that. It still has like 30% potential on Coca-Cola as well.
Right. Yep, exactly. And then I also noticed, not that this means anything, but let me see. Oh, that's good actually. So an analyst raised a price target on this stock from $4 to $6.50. But those analysts they don't have the best track records to say the least. But I'm also just looking at the news. Doesn't look like anything major. But what really like turns me off from this setup is look what it was doing even before the virus hit. Like it was taking a beating. You know what I mean? Like this stock was taking a beating even before the virus hit. So now with the virus, I think it's just going to get much worse. And, we could be totally wrong, but just based off the chart, it definitely doesn't look the best. Personally, if I was in your position, I would just take the loss and run. Next, we have, let's see. Let's see. So we have someone saying, what can you tell of STZ? So STZ, what do you think, Tom?
Wow, well, I think it could definitely be a good play for some options. I don't know exactly what they do, but I do like them. It does look like a solid play. Like, let's look at it on an intraday level. Yeah, I would definitely look at it to the downside based off of this momentum here. Watch for it to break like, let's just say like 177. Yeah, I'd watch for it to break like $177. Then I would get into it. But I don't know. Are they holding it long term or just short term?
I can't tell. They just said, what can you tell of STZ? So I would just consider it short term.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely play to the downside. They did have a great bounce off the 1000 SMA right here, but I don't know what exactly they do, so I can't give a very good long-term outlook on it.
Right, for sure. And then we have Dose saying quality and informative content, guys. Curious is why you guys do not trade or talk penny stocks. Well, here's the thing. Penny stocks, there's so much manipulation in those markets. There's a lot of manipulation and just a lot of like illogical things. Like it's not something that I don't know. Like I don't want to say you can't do it for the long term because I know some people do well with them and they do fine for themselves, but there's just a lot of I don't know, Tom. There's like a lot of bad things with them. You know what I mean? Like they're harder to predict, and there's so much manipulation. And another thing is too, a lot of these penny stocks, these companies are fundamentally in bad situations. Like they have a ton of debt, or they're a small company, or they're dealing with fraud or whatever, and they issue a lot of shares. And a huge problem in the penny stock market is that they dilute their companies, meaning that they just offer more and more and more and more shares, making your shares pretty much less valuable, literally. So like, let's say they have a total of 1,000,000 shares, like that's a supply. Let's say the company needs money. They'll just offer another 1,000,000 shares out there and they'll get the money that they want. But at the same time, it'll screw the shareholders over because now your share is only worth half of what it was worth beforehand. So, I mean, look at one plus side to penny stocks is that they move huge. And, if you could catch the right ones, you might be able to do decent, but it's just not something that we're into. Great question, though. Next question we have Tijuana saying, love, love, love this channel in the stat modeling option group. Wanted to know what you guys think of IEX. So let's take a look. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, IDEX, I kind of like them. I really like their pricing overall. Let's check them on the daily chart here. Yeah, I kind of like them. It looks like they might start going up here soon. I can't tell for sure. I don't know exactly what they do. It reminds me of that other company, IDEX, IDXX.
Oh, yeah,
It
gotcha.
reminds me of that company as well. But it looks like they do have some downwards momentum, so I would watch for them to the downside. But they did have a nice day today, so I don't know what to think about that too much. But I would say I'm kind of just neutral on the stock. I wouldn't play to the upside or the downside right now.
Yep. And then Jonathan said, hey, Mike and Tom, you guys rock 100%. What are your thoughts on Disney with parks pushing back reopening? So let me take a look. I mean, the last time I checked, Disney had some decent downwards momentum. I mean, what do you think, Tom?
Actually, they look like they have the same exact chart setup as the last stock we just talked about, the IDEX.
Yeah, IEX.
Yeah, IEX, that's what it was. IEX, look at that. The chart setup looks very similar, actually. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, like the market overall is kind of neutral right now. So like the thing is, like if these tech stocks keep boosting up and the Feds keep pumping, the market's going to stay up. You know, like no matter how bad of news that comes out, if the Feds keep pumping and the tech stocks keep running up, like I said, no matter how bad the news is, the market's going to go up, and that's like kind of situation we're in. Disney is a value stock though, so like I definitely wouldn't bet against them. Like I would actually like this for a longer term hold. And I think their price is pretty good right now. On the short term, they might fall, but I don't know. Like I wouldn't trade them to the downside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the big thing I've been waiting for with Disney is for them to bring back that Star Wars show that they had on there, where everyone was The Mandalorian is what it's called.
Oh,
Everyone was watching The Mandalorian and buying that new Disney show, like Disney Plus, I believe it was.
oh
It's just
yeah,
like Netflix. It's like their streaming service.
yeah, yeah.
I think that once they bring out a new show on there that everyone wants to watch again, I think then they'll shoot up again because I think that's going to be their bread and butter right now.
And you know what, too? I think that's a huge value add for the company. I remember right when Disney released that Disney Plus, and their stock price shot up pretty big. And like I think that's a something that's gonna it just brings a lot of value to the company just fundamentally. You know what I mean? Like it's like if I was a shareholder of Disney, I would like to know that they have that option because those streaming services are doing pretty well, and I'm happy Disney kind of launched their own.
Yeah,
And
me too. And I really like how they're bouncing on this 1000 SMA as well from a technical standpoint. So that I would really consider putting money on this as a long-term hold. But just keep in mind that the price point they were at $80 at the lows. So if the markets do go down, Disney will go down as well, obviously.
yep. And then let's see. With the next question, we have let's see. Um, Next question we have Cray saying killer analysis, my friends. Liked and subbed, keep it up. So thank you so much for that. We have Chris saying Apple puts is hard for me. It's like being a Saints fan and having Julio Jones on my fantasy football team. I own Apple, so I hate to see them drop, but I guess that's why you have to keep trading and investing separate. I mean, yeah, you have a great point, and Apple is definitely one of those powerhouses, and I agree with you with everything, but I totally agree with you on keeping trading and investing separate. And also, you could do, Chris, is like if you're in investor in Apple, you can buy put options just for insurance. You know what I mean? Like put options, they were made to originally be insurance for your stock holdings. So, like if you have like a ton of Apple shares, you can buy a put and you actually want it to expire worthless because if it does, that means your Apple stock went up. And that means, overall, you should have still made money if you did it correctly. So thank you so much for that comment. With the next question, we have, let's see. We have CW saying, great insight and information. I always look forward to your videos and continuing to learn. I have had a few losses the last 2 weeks with options I thought were solid. Lesson learned, I suppose. So absolutely. I mean, honestly, right now, if you're an options trader and you can survive in this market, I would say you can survive in any market because like let's just look at like last week alone, Tom. I mean, talk about uncertainty and like it's like at extreme levels. So like being an options trader, if you can survive now or even make money, you're doing a pretty good job. So that's just something to keep in mind. The market's very uncertain right now, and the best thing to do is enter light. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know what's going on, either sit on the sidelines and wait until the market picks an official direction, or enter super light. And right now, I'm still pretty neutral on the market. But if these tech stocks keep running up and the Feds keep pumping, the market's going to go up. You know what I mean? Like no matter how bad the news is, those two factors is what's really driving the market up.
Yeah, and we still have a lot of room to the top still, guys. So a lot of people have been saying like we've hit the top. Like we've been close to the top. The thing is that the top's all the way up here at around like 3,400. Once we get around 3,400 levels, that's whenever I would expect the market really to fall. And I would expect that to be right around elections out here in the charts in November and October.
Yep. So with that being said, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure, Mike. I really like Spotify to the downside still, guys. It might not go down tomorrow, but it will go down eventually. look at this solid rise up here. You will see this fall. This was a lot of momentum here, so watch for some bearish momentum. We still have to break this 100 SMA and really watch for that. Once we break that, then we're going to fly to the downside. So watch for that break. It's going to be nice whenever we do catch it, and just watch out for it for the next few days, because it's going to be one of those plays where obviously we had that bounce off the 100 today, but the 100 serves as a bouncing line. So we had some trouble getting through it, but we still can get through it tomorrow, especially in pre-market. If we do go through it in pre-market, that would be a very good sign.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? Spotify is a little bit like the Boeing play, actually. So you look at a Boeing chart back on, June 8th, right? Back on June 8th, Boeing was the hottest stock. No one saw any fall to it, right? And I bought puts on it. And everyone said, oh, Boeing's going to keep going up. They're going to hit 250. They're going to hit 300. They're going to hit, 325. Everyone was like, oh, no, why would you buy puts on Boeing, right? I bought puts on Boeing. Next couple days later, it tanked, and I had a really, really nice return. Spotify is going to be kind of the same way. Is it going to fall tomorrow? Maybe not. It might. But overall, it's the same setup. And Spotify had a very similar setup back on May 22nd, right around there. So I like Spotify for the downside for the next couple days. And there's a lot of good plays in general right now, especially with Apple. The main thing is the tech sector right now, and they're really, really controlling the markets. So with that being said, right now futures are up about 130 points. Right now, up about 130 points, but anything can happen in this market. So with that being said, if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily stock market videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. If you guys gain some value from this video or like the video, please leave a like on this video. We really, really, really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions or anything, let us know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.